Hi everyone, it's Misty here, design team member for Stamp Anything. Welcome back to another episode of Fanny Friday. I apologize that you didn't get a video last week, and that's because I had lost this footage. It took me days to find it or recover it. It was not the easiest process ever in my life, so I apologize for that. So in this part, I'm just filling in the gaps with the black micron pen, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. Roxy's in my window, and you may hear this during the voiceover. It's kind of like Inception because I'm listening to that clip as I'm editing and she's still snoring in the window. So if you can hear her, I apologize. So in today's video, I'm going to color Hector and Miguel and make a shaker card using both of them. So for Hector, I went with some kind of more khaki colored bone skeleton, I guess. So I stayed mostly in the E's, E44, 43, 42, and 81. I had pulled up one of the still shots from the movie, and I really liked that color combo. Now, I colored both of them darker than I wanted to, but I was like, no, I can't start all over because I really liked how both of these looked, minus the color of their skeletons. So fun fact, I hadn't seen Coco until about 2 weeks before this release went live. My grandmother passed away 24 years ago, October 13th, 2024. And that day is always October is really difficult for me because she was basically like my mother figure. And so I'm 46, so almost half my life I've been without her. And the day of her death is always really hard for me. So I skipped this movie because I learned my lesson with Moana. Moana made me sob like a baby. No one gave me a heads up that, something happened. And so anyway, I didn't watch this one, and we were chatting in their kind of design team chat, and everyone was like, Misty, watch it. It'll be okay. It's kind of sad, but it'll be okay. So I watched it and I loved it. And what really drew me to it, and I talked about this with my therapist yesterday, was like, the day of remembrance, like just having this day where you're kind of celebrating, and it's more about remembering your loved ones. And so I feel like this movie came at a good time. This release came at a good time because that movie really helped me. So I loved the movie, and I really loved this character. I loved Hector. Hector was probably my favorite character out of all of them. I don't understand why this is his outfit. Is this what he was wearing before he died? I don't know. Anyway, so for the hat, I believe I'm using E55, 47, and 31. I will have all of the markers listed down below. It's been a couple of weeks since I colored them. I do have markers written down, but I didn't put necessarily where they were going. So for his handkerchief bandana, and for Miguel's outfit, I'm using I believe it's 89. Oh my gosh, brain. And then for his pants, I am using 35 and 33. And I'm not doing a whole lot of blending on him because there's just not enough room to do a whole lot of blending other than his face and his cap and his pants. So I used BV29 for his kind of vest or the shirt that he's wearing. And then I pulled up a closer picture to get the color of the decorations on his face. And I knew that I wanted to do them in gel pen. So it went from purple to yellow to green. So that's what I've tried to do using gel pen on the front of this. You can't really see it until you look at up close pictures. But I really, really like how it turned out. I think it's such a fun touch. So for Miguel, I went a little heavy-handed on him, and I have continued to use the color Splendor to try to push some of that color into the paper, and it's being stubborn. It will not go. So he's still a bit dark, but I'm going to go ahead and use C0 and C00, and I should have kept it at that. but I really liked kind of the shading that I got on Hector. It's hard to see in the video, but in the picture you can see a little bit more of like a bone structure. And so when I came back and did Miguel, and here you can see the paper moved, and that's why I always try to get the sticky off my stamps. But I came back and added too much, and so yeah, anyway. For his sweatshirt, my favorite R combo is 59, 46, and 35. And then my 35 pen died, or marker died, so I had to bring in R24. So, but that's my favorite red combo. It gives just enough depth. 89 will work too. And then it just gives it a bright, like vibrant red. And that's the color that I really wanted. Because his sweatshirt or his sweater, or whatever you want to call it, hoodie was kind of bright and vibrant. This whole movie was bright and vibrant, and I loved it. Loved. You guys know, if you've been with me for a while, you know that I love color. So yeah, so putting the lightest color at the top, and here you can see I'm really struggling with this marker. And I don't buy refills. I just buy new markers because I got burned. And here I'm trying to decide what color was the guitar he was playing during his performance. So I had to rewatch that little segment to remember. But I don't buy refills. I just buy a new marker. One time I bought a refill for a marker, and I couldn't get it to work, so I had to buy a new marker anyway because the core where the ink is absorbed, it had dried out. And once it's dried out, it's just dried out. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a marker. I get mine from scrapbookpal.com. She's pretty much the cheapest. She pretty even with Dick Blick. So yeah. And I don't have Ohuhu markers because I don't know. I just can't bring myself to pay for another set of markers. But if somebody wants to gift me some, I would be okay with it. So for the blue jeans, I used B34, 23, 21. And then I couldn't remember what color his shoes were, but I figured they were brown based on what they were doing at the beginning of the movie. So I just added 2 colors on that. And here you can see I came in with C4, and C4 was just too dark. I had a hard time shading him with gray anyway, because if you've been around here forever, you know that I hate shading white with gray. But in this instance, he wasn't like pure white. It wasn't snow. It wasn't something that I wanted to look more pristine. I mean, he was literally turning white. He was really, literally dying, becoming a skeleton or whatever. So his face is a little dark, but I still like how he turned out. I think this release is so stinking cute. And I'm glad I watched the movie, so I knew what we were doing. Now, let me tell you something. November's release will probably be my second favorite release of the year. And once you see November's release, you'll understand why I'm so excited. Cannot wait. So if you want to make sure that you get all of the release, be sure to sign up for Stamp Club. That is listed down below. Stencil Club, unfortunately, it's no longer continuing, but you can still get stencils in the release. There's always a 6x8 stamp set that has 4 characters and sentiments and other little characters or accessories. Then you get a stencil. This month was a six layer stencil, I believe. Was it 6 or 7? One of the two. And then there's a word die, and then there's a builder die. The builder die for this month is to make one of the flags that they hang during Day of the Dead, like out of the tissue paper. So I don't know if I'll use that die next week. We'll have to wait and see. I am trying to decide if I'm going to use Mama Coco as make a card with Mama Coco, because again, she really reminds me of my grandmother. My grandmother was 100% Choctaw, Mississippi Choctaw, so she was brown, and Mama Coco is of course brown. So yeah. So I went on Creative Fabrica and found some Day of the Dead paper, and I went ahead and put it in Photoshop and turned down the opacity because it was bright. So we're going to be making a traditional shaker card today. So I was trying to decide what color I wanted to go as the frame. So I had picked out an orange, a purpley magenta color, yellow, and then green. And those are the colors that, of course, were in the movie. They're on Hector, etc. And so I ended up going with orange. And the reason why I went with orange is because of the flowers. And also Miguel's in red and Hector's in light green and not green, purple and red. And I just thought that would be a better combo. So to make a shaker card, you need to make a frame. Now I do this with dies. You don't have to use dies to do this. You can do it with your trimmer, but I just can't seem to figure that out. So the green die is actually from Stamp Anything. They no longer carry it, but if you have their, I think it's called the A2 card builder die. If you have that, that's what I'm using. And then I am using a rectangle that is 2 sizes smaller. If I could have gotten a little bit with a thicker border, but I didn't want to. I wanted more of the paper and the shaker to show. So I'm just trying to make sure that I have it pretty even, and then I die cut that and I die cut both of the characters. And so I end up with a frame, and then I ended up with a piece that I can use later down the road. And yeah, the paper's upside down. I change it, I promise. I'm just trying to figure out if they're going to fit and how I like that. So yeah. And here you can see the paper before I turn down the opacity. Sorry, Roxy left and I have to shut the door because my husband's on a telephone call. So I apologize. Okay, so I'm sharing with you the colors of diamond drills from diamond painting that I'm using for this shaker card. And I'm only showing this part because I'm going to show you the colors that I'm using, but I'm going to share with you a super easy, quick, and simple, down and dirty way to make a shaker card. Unfortunately, we're no longer carrying the shaker card pouches, but this is just as simple, I promise you. So I'm just putting all of those in there. I'm also going to bring in some little I think they're daisy little clay slices, and I'm going to pick out the white and keep the orange or the yellow. I figured that would go with the orange flowers that are in the movie. There is a flower that you can color and die cut, but I was like, that would be a lot and a lot of die cutting. And I was just like, I had the idea to use these and I decided to do that anyway. So what I'm putting these in are an A2 clear envelope. And these are meant for when you, like if you sell your cards or whatever, you can put them in a clear envelope like this. So this is how I make a shaker. And this is real time. I've cut my piece of paper to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I've put it in the clear envelope and I've put it all the way to one side or the other. I'm putting down a piece of tear and tape, score pal tape, etc. You're going to fold over that flap. You're going to pour in whatever you're going to put on the inside. You're going to seal it up and you have a shaker card. It's that simple. And so on my channel this week, Monday I used treat bags, like the $1 treat bags that you can get like at the Dollar Tree for Christmas, Halloween, etc. And then on Wednesday, I showed a video using this. So on the back of this frame, I used some more of that tearing tape or score pal tape or score tape for the frame. And I'm just making sure that I get it lined up. I'm going to use some more of that tape on the back and get it on an A2 size card front. Now, I don't use liquid glue when I'm making shaker cards because I get it everywhere. And then it's like I got glue on something and I've tried to use a glue eraser before and that just smears it, makes it worse. So it's easier to use either a tape runner or tearing tape. But since I'm using this plastic, I wanted something that was a little bit more heavy duty and something a bit more permanent. So I got that adhered, and next we're going to get our friends adhered, and I'm going to use some Scotch mounting foam and get that on the back of them so I can decide where they're going to go. I played around with placement a little bit, and then I'm going to put a sentiment on this. I know you're surprised. I was surprised too, but I felt like they needed something in between them, and I thought a sentiment would be perfect. And I think this is the one that says, I'm proud we're a family. I think that's what it is. So I am going to stamp that with some black ink, and then I am going to use the little scalloped rectangle from that same die set. It cuts out the scalloped as a frame, and then the center is just a rectangle. And I thought, you know what, that'll be easier than me trying to do this with a trimmer and getting it crooked. So I'm going to put 2 layers of that Scotch mounting foam on this because it's going to go in between them and they're already popped up. And then after I do that, I'm going to bring in some rhinestones. I wanted to add something to the end of this. I left a little bit more space than I thought I would. And so normally I would put like a round rhinestone, but a friend had sent these teardrop rhinestones and I thought that is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to bring in like a little green rhinestone, teardrop rhinestone to put on the end. Isn't this just perfect? It's so perfect. And then I'm going to bring in a Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen. It's my favorite. If you're looking for shimmer, it's the best. Once I do that, that's it. So thank you so much for joining me today, friends. I really do appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Check out all of our social medias. Leave me a comment letting me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.